Y'all, it's that time again. New patterns have been released by the Big Five. They're available right now online and soon they'll be in stores. Here in Atlanta, it is still 100 degrees with 110% humidity outside, so I can't even begin to start thinking about fall. It is still very much summer sewing for me, probably for the next couple of months. I could sew a bikini if I wanted to. But I know many people sew a season ahead because that's the responsible thing to do. That's what designers do. That way, when the season hits, you're all ready to go. Me personally, I just have a hard time planning that far ahead, and I like sewing things that I can wear the next day. Or you may live in a much cooler climate and it may not be as hot as it is here in Atlanta where you are. So fall patterns may be right on time for you. Regardless, they're out. I'm gonna talk about them anyway. So let's talk about the fall 2024 patterns.
In this video, we are going to talk about Vogue patterns. So here we're looking at the home page where they're telling us the trending patterns are trench coats, informal wear, and party attire. First up, we are starting off with a dress. It is Vogue 2043. And this is actually a pretty cute dress. I like the way that it looks on both of the models here. Let's take a look at the line drawing so we can actually see the details here. When you look at the line art, you see that you have this front swooshing kind of piece of fabric that's making sort of like this wrapped, draped effect. Not sure that I'm a huge fan of this, but like I said, on the artwork, it actually looks nice. Here on the line drawings, you can see that view A has a straight sleeve with a dart on the back for a very fitted sleeve out of a woven fabric. You're going to need that dart. It also looks like there are zipper closures at the opening of the sleeve so that you can, really get that super tight fit. Alternatively, for view B, you could do a balloon sleeve with this cuff detail. Both views have belt loops at the waist seam so that you can add a belt. Let's go ahead and take a look at the close-up. This is going to be the front of the pattern envelope. And here in this really bright floral, which you don't really think about for fall, but it's really quite pretty. Some of the details do get lost here in the busier print, but this is going to be view A with the slim sleeves, and this is view B with the wider balloon sleeves. And here you can see a little bit more of the draping detail on the dress. And I do like how both of them come with this self belt. I've never made one of those, so that is on my list of things to make. I don't really know that I need this pattern, but I do like it. It's very cute. It's just not quite my style. They do suggest things like crepe back satin, matte jersey, rayon challis, a silk jacquard. I think a crepe, not necessarily a crepe back satin, just like a crepe would work. I think this would work with a lot of woven fabrics as long as it has a little bit of stretch. It's not too much of a fabric hog, even with that extra shawl draped piece in the front. And it does come in a size 6 to 14 and then 16 to 24. So yeah, that is 2043. I think we're off to a pretty good start. 2044 is also a dress. As a matter of fact, if you are not a dress girly, go ahead and fast forward because we don't get out of dresses until 2049. We got a few more patterns to go. But right now we are looking at Vogue 2044, which like I said, is a dress. Let's look at the line drawings again here so you can see the details. We are going to have some princess seaming in the bodice. Again, the same long sleeve with the back dart and the zipper at the hem. And then you have two lengths here with the below knee length and then the full length. What I don't like about this pattern is the bows. I like that it adds a different detail, but I would probably prefer just a regular princess seamed dress, but plenty of those patterns already exist, so I understand what Vogue was doing here. The bows aren't bad. I'm just not a person who's that into bows. So you can see here on the bust, you have a little bit of a peekaboo, and then you have these extra bows for details. Here looks like maybe in a crepe or like a wool, and then in this one definitely more of a dressier chaton or something here. So you can see how you can get two different looks with the below the knee length and then the full length. Again, you can do the long sleeve or the short sleeve. This is a cute pattern. It's just not really one that is for me. I would basically prefer just a basic princess seam dress. And if that's the look that I'm going for, there are other patterns I can use for it. They suggest a crepe, a silk jacquard, wool crepe, wool flannel. I have a hard time making a dress out of wool just because it never really gets that wool here. But I could definitely see if you lived in a cooler climate how this would be a great way to wear a dress when the temps start to drop. This does come in an 18 to a 16 and then an 18 to a 26. So you have a little bit more sizing available on this dress. And I like it, I just don't love it. Now, this dress is actually a little bit more my speed. I like the fitted bodice of this dress. I like the details of view B. If you look at view A here on the model, you can see that it's sleeveless. There's some neck darts. I don't know how well you can see there are two sort of fisheye darts here on the front side, and then there's two more on the back. They also add this flap pocket here, which I don't absolutely love as a detail by itself, but on view B, I really like it because it adds to sort of this militarized look here. You have the epaulets with the buttons, you have a very pointed collar, and then the flap. It gives me corporal, I don't know, maybe about the military, it gives me a very militarized like look. Like it looks very authoritative, and I sort of like that with the longer sleeves here. Again, just giving you different views of this. You can see on this chatung better the actual darts for that fitting of the waist. Now, I don't really have a defined waist, so I'm not sure that this would be great on me, but I do really like it. Before we look at those details, let me take you down to the line drawing so you can see everything here in these two options of a dress. Like I said, what I think I like the most is that these two dresses give totally different looks once they've sewn up, as we saw on the models. So view A, it's just a very fitted sheath dress that you would see anytime you have the double fisheye darts on the front and on the back, zip up back, vent in the back, sleeveless, extra fitting detail with these neck darts. Like everything about that is just a classic fitted dress. But in view B, you get some extra details that you wouldn't expect. You get a two-piece sleeve, you get the epaulets with the buttons, you get this very pointy, authoritative collar, and then you get this faux flap because I wouldn't do the flap on view A. It sort of messes up the look for me. So this to me looks a little bit more dressy, and then view B looks a little bit more, I don't know, it's still dressy, but it's sort of like bad bitch dressy. I don't know. Sorry for cursing, but I just sort of like the look of it. So now let's go ahead and look at the additional details on the back of the envelope. Here you can see that they suggest a gabardine, medium weight wools, wool crepe. It is fully lined, it seems. Now, I would actually venture to make this in a ponte because I always like a fabric that has a little bit of stretch, or maybe a stretch crepe or a stretch satin, because something this fitted is going to be uncomfortable to me unless I have a little bit of room to move a while round in. Like, so they suggest a twill. I would probably just opt for a stretch twill. This is available in an 8 to 16 and then an 18 to 26. I really don't understand what makes some patterns start at a 6, some at an 8, and some at a 4, but that's just how Vogue is doing their stuff right now. As you would assume for a fitted dress, this doesn't take a whole lot of fabric. There's not a whole lot of fabric that you need to make this. I think this is a very cute look. I'm not 100% sure that it's right for my body type at the current moment, but that probably ain't gonna stop me from making it. Those double fish darts, having to sew 8 of those fish darts to mark them and sew them, now that may stop me from making it, but we'll see. Continuing with the dresses, we have 2046. This is another dress that sort of has a fit and flare look, sort of like 2044, but this one has some different details. So here you can still see you essentially have the princess themed bodice, but there is a front and back yoke to sort of break that up. You have the option of short sleeves and long sleeves, a shorter panel skirt or a longer 6-panel skirt. They all have pockets. You can see here on the drawing that there is this fringe detail along the yoke and the sleeves or the hems of the longer sleeves. We can look at it on the model so you can see those details. I think this pattern has been done before. Actually, like I feel like this paneled princess seam yoke thing exists in a different Vogue pattern, but I didn't have time to look it up today. You can see that this yoke is actually split too. See how the two patterns are going in two different directions. And then if you zoom in here, you can see the fringe detail along the yoke and along the sleeve. Now on this one, it's a little bit harder to see, but we will zoom in again. You can see the fringe detail that's here at the yoke and then around the hems. You also have a belt detail here. Let's zoom back out. You also have the belt detail here that they just added. It's not a part of the pattern, just to sort of break it up. Smaller belt here. But yeah, this is cute. I could definitely see this made out of like a wool or a tweed because that would give that nice fringe look there. Let's see what they recommend. Yep, a Bose, uh, a linen, a tweed, or a wool crepe. All of those will work. Of course, you could skip the fringe if that's not your cup of tea. I typically like a fit and flare dress. Again, I like princess seam. They make the fittings easy. I like having the sleeve options here. There's really nothing to like about this, not to like about this dress, but there's also nothing to really write home about this dress. So do with that what you will. Now we are getting into the holiday dresses, which I feel like you don't usually see until the winter patterns come out, but alas, this is where we are. Plus, Vogue always wants to, take it up a notch, dress it up a little bit. So in 2047, we have what I would describe as like a cocktail dress. They call it an evening dress, same difference. Um, it's close fitting, it's lined. I like that it has this wrap detail on the front with it sort of stands up by itself and then it works into a bow. To be honest, I'm not one who's typically afraid of Vogue patterns. Like a lot of people are like, oh, Vogue patterns are tricky and their directions are hard. I actually love a lot of Vogue patterns, but I will admit that this bow, the detail of this bow, that looks like it might mess me up. Yeah. I won't be trying it, not because I'm afraid of the bow. I would give it a try, but because I just don't need these kind of dresses in my life. I don't go to these type of events. Sometimes I wish I did, but I don't. So I'm going to resist the urge to buy this dress, no matter how cute I really think it is or the pattern, because I'm not sure that I'm going to have an occasion to sew it up. But then you know how this works. I will get invited to something this holiday season that I need a dress for, and then I'll want this and I won't be able to find it. But anyway, this comes in an 8 to 16 and then an 18 to 26, and they give you sort of the same kind of dressy fabric recommendations: brocade, chatung, silk, etc. This is definitely lined. It is underlined with some sew-in interfacing because you're going to need some structure to like make that bow and just the bodice of this dress sit up. So that's to be um, expected. This does say advanced. So like I said, if you're a newbie, this may be one to skip unless you just really want a good challenge. But I do really think it is a cute dress. We pretty much looked at the line drawing on the back of the envelope, but it's just very simple, very classic. I like the look of it. It's fun in this bright purple. I could definitely see it in, a typical cocktail black. I could also see it in red for the holidays, or maybe even something with a little shimmer, like a little silver or gold, right? Like I think that would be really nice. This is a gorgeous dress. I really love the styling of it. It's badly Mishka, so what else did you expect? I just don't really need to add it to my stash, but I hope somebody sews this up because I can't wait to see it. We made it to the last dress, 2048. Now, this is an evening dress if there ever was an evening dress. And we're going to start with the pictures, okay? Because the pictures for this one really stand out. This is a statement dress. These bows are a moment. Now, it may not be the moment you want, that's for you to decide, but they definitely a moment. Now, I don't love it in this green, and I don't know if it's because I don't like the green, and I love green, but I don't know, something about this furnishing, and I think it has more to do with the color than anything, I don't really love. And I typically love a shorter dress. The gathered skirt is cute. The sort of corseted waist adds some definition, and then you have the cups uh, for the bust that go into these dramatic big bow sleeves, which are gorgeous in their own right. A little over the top, but gorgeous. But when you look at it in this fabric, this purple regal looking brocade. I love it. It's probably too much for me. Again, I'm never going to need probably something like this to wear, but if I did, baby, if there's going to be a frocktails or like, I don't know, some type of fancy event that I get invited to where you have to tone it down a little bit, but also give it the zhuzh, I would go with this. If I wanted to be sexy and cute, I would go with 2047. But if I needed to be a little bit more elegant, I would go with this one. I absolutely love these big bows, like on her at least. I don't, again, know that I need it for myself, but I love the drama and it's bringing the drama. Now, let's go ahead and look at the line drawings, and then we'll go back up to the back of the pattern. When you look at the line drawings here, you can see that the back bodice and the cups actually are just a really elongated piece that actually are tied into a bow. I wasn't sure if the bow was sewn and then like tacked on to the strap, or if it actually was a part of the strap, was part of the bodice. And this illustration is letting us know that it is a part of the bodice. So this whole cut piece and this whole like back piece is just completely a strap. It sort of reminds me of the straps on those like infinity jumpsuits or infinity dresses. It's that idea. Now, that being said, well, we'll talk about that in a second. But also to have that fullness, because you have this huge gathered skirt, whether you show the new knee length or the T length, you have this gathered skirt that's full. So they actually give you a pattern for a petticoat as well. Now, I know most of us modern women aren't really about wearing petticoats. Like maybe if you're into period pieces or you're a little bit older, you remember wearing a slip or a petticoat. But I will say, when I went to Atlanta Frocktails back in May, I made a gathered skirt dress out of this floral fabric, and I needed the poof of a petticoat to really make that dress stand out the way that I wanted it to. Now, I did not sew one because I was lazy and at the last minute I ordered one from Amazon, but it makes the dress pop. My point just is, if you're going to wear a dress like this, especially in a heavier fabric like the purple one on the model is here, that's going to be a heavier brocade, you are going to need something to give that dress, the skirt of that dress, some structure. So I'm happy that they included this petticoat pattern here. I mean, it's easy enough to buy a cheap one off Amazon, but if you want a truly completely handmade outfit, this makes plenty of sense, and probably you need it to make the dress be the statement piece that you're going to want it to be. Now let's look at the back of this pattern. My first takeaway is that this pattern is a fabric hog. Fabric hog. Like even in the smallest size, a size 6, you're looking at 3.5 yards of fabric plus 2 1/8 of underlining plus 2.5 of lining. So if you are going to do this, you got to be all in. Also, we haven't even got to the petticoat. So again, just more. But that's going to be tulle or whatever, so that should be a little cheaper. My point just is, it's going to take a lot of fabric. If you're up here in the 24, like myself, you are going to be looking, I mean, I would probably use the 60-inch fabric, so you're only looking at 4 yards, but it's the yardage plus the underlining plus the lining. So this one, much like the previous cocktail dress, is going to be advanced according to Vogue, which I wouldn't let scare me. It's just probably going to be a lot of steps. Um, they recommend a brocade, which you can see they did on the one model, a dotted twist, a lace, which could bring it to like a wedding dress level, I think, a taffeta, so forth and so on. So, do with this what you want. If you have that type of event to attend, this could be a really fun ensemble to wear. I think this is definitely one that people are either going to love or hate. And for some reason, again, I like this view B on the model better than I like view A. Now, I don't know what's going on there, but I think it's gorgeous. I just don't eat it. Whew. All right, we're finally past dresses. We're on to other pieces. And this one is a bodysuit for 2049. I love bodysuits. Love them, love them, love them more than probably the average woman. But I'm not really sure about this bodysuit. And I want to look at the line drawings first. 100% get this drapey look, swag, shawl like feature that we're doing here. I don't I don't get it. I mean, I guess in like a stretch velvet or something, it would again give a holiday look. Pair it maybe with a taffeta chatung full skirt or something. But I just don't get it. And then in view B, you can take that option off, and then you just sort of have this interesting asymmetrical swoop straight edge neckline going on. So let's look at it at the model. You can see here on view A that I don't know. I don't really get it. I don't get this hanging from my bust. Let's take a closer look at view A with the drape. You can see it does have some darts for some additional fitting. And it doesn't look bad. It's not my style and I just don't get it. I much prefer this view without the shawl, but then there's so many other basic bodysuits that I would probably use before I would make this one, because the neckline here isn't so interesting that I prefer it to just a scoop or a square neckline or something like that. So yeah, this one isn't for me, but it quite possibly is for someone else, because it's definitely a look. It's just not a look that I want. You can see here that this comes in an 8 to 16 and then an 18 to 26. Of course, this is going to need a four-way stretched knit of really any kind. They say rayon spandex, cotton spandex, stretch velvet. That's pretty much all knits, right? You could do a bamboo like any stretchy knit would work for this. It's not that deep. But yeah, I mean, it's not bad. It's just not great. The model here for view B is actually wearing the bodysuit that we just talked about. But this pattern is for skirts, and there are two different views of skirts here. A is a shorter length with like this double handkerchief hem. It also has like a double breasted button situation here, with belts and a belt loop. And I don't I don't know. And then so view B is going to be the same, but instead of having the double handkerchief hem, it's like an asymmetrical handkerchief hem on just one side. Let's take a little bit of a closer look. Okay, so this is B with the one side drape. I don't know that I get this. It's sort of like a wrap skirt. It looks like they used a faux, yep, it looks like they used a faux leather here. It has this double breasting button, sort of like a trench coat with this welt pocket, also sort of like a trench coat. I'm also not 100% a fan of the way that they paired this bright red with the burgundy. To me, that sort of clashes, but that don't have nothing to do with the pattern. I'm sorry. Um, I don't know. I just don't get it. One, it looks sort of heavy, so it doesn't look comfortable. But of course, you could do a different fabric choice like they do here in like this suiting type fabric. So again, you're going to have the double breasted. But here you're going to have the double sort of welt pockets because you have the double asymmetrical hem, belt loops and a belt here. Again, just not really a fan of this particular um hemline, maybe. If you've been sewing for a while, you may remember another Vogue pattern that looked very similar to this, and that was Vogue 8956. It was essentially a wrap front skirt with the different asymmetrical handkerchief hems, but no buttons. And I don't know that I love that one either, but I definitely prefer it without the buttons than I do with this buttoned up version. But that's just me. If you look at the line drawings here, it's exactly what I said. One's just one-sided, one is on both sides. It's giving you like a wrap front, hence you need the buttons. And then there is a self belt. You either have one pocket on the asymmetrical or two on the double handkerchief hem. And if we look at the back of the pattern envelope, we can see what they recommend for fabrics and such, which is just medium weight wovens, basically. Uh, Denim, synthetic leather, twill, suiting of any kind, really doesn't have to be wool. And this comes in an 8 to 16 and then an 18 to 26. You can see here they actually say that it's trench wrap inspired. So it's sort of like a trench coat and then they just cut the top half off. That's definitely a look. I don't know that it's a look that I'm looking for, but maybe you are. You can see that the pants of 2051 are interesting. They call them a high-rise barrel leg pant. Now, I'm not really familiar with barrel legs, but they are, I guess, supposed to be trending because Closet Core had in their crew collection a pair of barrel leg pants as well. I think they were called the Cephia, something like that. And I have that pattern as well, and I was going to modify them to take the barrel out because I really like those pants. They're elastic waist, you just pull them on, blah, 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 blah. But here with this Vogue pattern, you have a full-on sort of denim jean fly front. So if we look here at the line drawing, you can see that view A has a traditional sort of denim or trouser flat front with the top stitching. You got a fly, uh, waistband, belt loops, right? But it also has this curvature shape to make it this barrel look. Like if you look at it, it looks like an old school cartoon barrel. I don't know, that you would roll off Niagara Falls with or whatever, right? Okay, so view B is going to be the same essentially, but they have these much more exaggerated angular top stitch pockets, but still the fly front and all that good stuff. And then I don't know what the necessity is of these interesting darts. I've never seen darts that go into a crotch seam before, a center back of a pant. Um, I guess it's to create the shape. So talking about the shape, let's look at it on the models. So on the front of the envelope, you can see views A and B. Like I said, they have this sort of curved shape. It sort of reminds me of Yosemite Sam. I already said cartoon and a barrel and everything, but it sort of reminds me of Yosemite Sam. Like you should pull out two guns and go, aha! Which maybe that's the whole cowboy Carter Western thing that we're doing right now. I don't know. Anyway, so here is the plain view, view A, with sort of the regular pockets, and you can just see this shape that is here. And then view B is going to have those extra details of the pocket with the top stitching and sort of the angularness. You're still going to have that same overall barrel shape, and you can see it more from the back. Like it looks like you're bow-legged, which I mean some people really like that, they're attracted to that, but I mean there's nothing wrong with being bow-legged. You can't see it as well here, I think, because the view A denim is just like stiffer. So I do think you want like a heavier weight twill if you're actually going for this look, which let's take a look at that. They are saying crepe. That would be stiff enough in my opinion. Gabardine, medium weight denim, wool suiting. Yeah, I can see the denim or the wool suiting for this, and it's available in a 6 to a 14 and then a 16 to a 24, using about 2.5, 3 yards of fabric for a pair of pants is pretty standard. Um, I'm just not a fan of this barrel shape. Maybe I'll change my mind. One of y'all can convince me. Let me know how you feel about it and like where is this pulling from? I don't really remember a barrel leg trend in my lifetime, and I'm in my mid 40s. Um, yeah, I don't know. I don't know where this came from, but I feel like they're trying to push it. So let me know if you're jumping on board with this trend or not. It's not fall without a coat pattern, and oh, they're calling this a jacket. This is a very loose, oversized fitting jacket, not a coat, I guess, and it's fully lined, which is great. It has a big shawl, oversized collar, um, and it has a notch in the collar as well. I will say that I do like how on the model here they have like the contrasting colorways. So this almost looks like maybe this fabric either is reversible or came in two opposite colorways. So that is a nice sort of like detail there. There's not a lot to say about this jacket. I mean, it's pretty simple. Let's look at the line drawings really quickly. It's just like a drop shoulder. You got welt pockets. You got that band detail, which they did with the contrasting fabric, as well as the oversized like collar here. So, I mean, I don't know. It's interesting, but not really something to write home about. They recommend brocade, a damask, denim, wool blends, typical fall and winter fabrics. It is lined, so you do need to do that, and you will need interfacing. This is available in a 8 to 16 and then an 18 to 26. If you like this style of coat, I would definitely say get it, although I feel like we've seen a similar coat to this maybe in the Simplicity or maybe the Butterick lineup. But anyway, if you don't have it, go ahead and grab it. You can't go wrong if this is the style that you're into. This is just a little too oversized for me personally, but teach their own. Now, this jacket is going in the total opposite direction. I would really call this a blazer, but they're calling it a jacket. So be it. This is a cropped blazer to me, double-breasted, cropped length blazer. If we look at the models here, zoom in, you can see that view A has like an asymmetrical pointed wrap with two buttons, sort of double breasted there, with the pointed hemline, and then view B is a straight across hemline with double breasted buttons, but you have four of them with the typical notched collar that you would see on a blazer. I don't know that I like this without the collar. I think I would add the lapels in the collar here, just me personally. But I'm not a fan of this pattern overall, so I wouldn't get it anyway. But if you like this cropped length in a blazer, I would definitely grab this because I don't know how many of these types of patterns that I've seen. So this could probably work for you if you don't like the oversized blazers, if you don't like traditional hip length blazers, if you want something maybe a little bit more fashion forward, you could go for this shorter cropped length. View A does sort of make me think about like what is that, like a maitre d or something that has more of the pointed hem. This for some reason goes from a 4 to a 12, and then from a 14 to a 22. So I don't know if they just think small people want cropped stuff and larger people wouldn't want cropped, but where some of the patterns go up to a 26, I'm not really sure why this only goes up to a 22, but whatever. Again, same fabric recommendations, brocade, linen, tweed, I would say like a bose, suiting, all of that could work. You could do this out of a denim. You could do this out of a twill. This could really work with any mid-weight kind of woven. So if this is your style, definitely grab it. I love a cape. Always have, guess I always will. And this cape is very cute. I like it. I don't know how many more cape patterns I need, but let's take a look at these details, right? So view A is going to be a shorter length. It has those vertical slits for your hands to come out of here, in the front. And then you have these fake flat pockets, which must be like really on trend, or Vogue is predicting for it to be. And then you have the epaulets and sort of like an oversized collar with like a single button to hold it all together. This is cute. I like it. And then view B is going to be the fuller length. Same details in the collar and the epaulets. You're going to have more buttons. So this one looks a little bit more like a jacket. And then there is the belt option here that will keep it sort of like in place. If you've ever had a cape and you wear it out, sometimes they can sort of get twisted around and everything because they're so loosey goosey. But like this self tie belt would keep everything in place while still giving you like that cape look. And then there are some whoop pockets that I hope are functional. Because there's not pockets on the shorter version. View B has matching belts. Mm. So I've done this belt option on a McCall's um, cape pattern, which I really like. If I can find it, I'll put it up here as well. But let's take a look at the models here. So again, view A is going to be like the hip length version. View B is going to be more of like a below the knee kind of length. I like this bold yellow window pane. This looks like a wool fabric. I think this is really sharp. I like it a lot. I like how she has it on with like the full length leather gloves as well. Very, very chic to me. And then this is another good look in a very gorgeous deep camel brown, saddle brown kind of color here. You can see the additional buttons and then the tie detail give it a little bit more structure and make it a little bit more like a coat, whereas this is definitely more like a throw on and go. But either way, I like both of these. I say I don't need a cape pattern, but the more that I look at this, I think I want this. So yeah, we'll see what happens. Oops, let's look at the back of the pattern here. They are going to recommend wool, denim, fleece, which would be like a nice everyday material for it, or any medium weight kind of wool, which I could definitely see that, the Melton wool or something. And then this all comes in one pattern envelope, so you have from an extra small to an extra, extra large, which I really appreciate. That's great. So you can make one for you and your friend, you and your daughter, or two for you, whatever it may be. I like this. It's cute. And the more I talk about it, the more I think that I'm grabbing this pattern. Originally, I said I wasn't going to, but I think I've convinced myself. What about you? We have moved on to full on trench coat. in 2055. Now, I don't know that y'all know this, but you should. I love a trench coat. I don't know why. I don't wear them very often, but I don't know. My mother, I think, really loved trench coats, and it just makes me think of her, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, I love this pattern. It's a little, well, you know what? Let's start with the line drawing. It's a little boxier than I would typically like for a trench coat, but it is a coat, so like it's not supposed to be fitted. Let's look at view A first. View A, I think I'm a little bit less of a fan of because I don't really get this shawl like throw over the shoulder part. We lose the detail of the fun buttons here as well, so it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to me. Plus, you still have the flap like on top of the wrap, but what I will say is it is different and it is fashion forward. If you saw Shamir in what she made for her like ugly pattern challenge, where she went for this very Mugler type of look, she killed that, and it has this same sort of throw over shawl detail on more of like a modo coat. Anyway, check it out. But I'm not sure that this would work for me. I much prefer view B, which is more of a classic trench. And if you saw my Know Me review from a couple of seasons back, you know that Beauty J'adore had the perfect trench coat pattern for me, and then they had the audacity for it to stop at like an 18 because it was a kid's pattern and a mom pattern, a woman's pattern, and I guess they didn't want to make a third envelope with a larger size. So I think it only went from an 8 to an 18 or a 10 to an 18 or something like that. And I was so pissed because it was everything that I wanted in a trench coat. I say all that to say this is a very close second. It has almost everything I want. All right. It's double breasted. A little bit too many buttons, but it doesn't matter. I can modify that myself. Love the double breasted. I love the front flap detail because that's what really makes a trench coat to me. You have the little belts at the arm with the buckles. Love that. Very trench. You have the epaulets and the collar, all trench. Now, this is a raglan sleeve. I don't know that I think of trenches as having raglan sleeves, but I like the fact that they're here because for me, coats and raglan sleeves are more comfortable. They're easier to move in. I have big biceps. It makes me feel better. They're more comfy to wear. Okay, there's also the flap on the back, and then you have belt loops to keep the belt. Now, I probably would skip all of these in the back and just put two on the sides like a traditional trench. That's just me. It's also an easy fix. Like I said, the only thing I don't like about it is it's sort of boxy, but that's what the belt's for. Let's look at the pictures. Okay, back to the pattern envelope. You can see here some of the details. View A has the very dramatic shawl here that looks like stays on with this button, which sort of mirrors the button on the epaulette on the other side. You have the front flap, which is cute. The buckled wristband things, which I love. Yeah, I do like this, and it's definitely more fashion forward. I just think I like a traditional trench. So here on view B, you have more of the traditional view, the double-breasted, the belt, all the details. So let's continue to look at the models here. Now, what I will say I really like about this one is like this beautiful, beautiful cream color. Gorgeous. Knocked it out of the park. I don't love this purple plaid as much, although a plaid trench makes perfect sense. This isn't the plaid that I would have went with, but it doesn't matter because I can see past this. I can see the details that I like in the trench are in this trench. Oh, look at it from the back. If this is not Olivia Pope, now you know. This is very I'm just headed to take on the world and I'm gonna look cute while I'm doing it. And then here again you can see the flap on this classic version here as well. I will definitely be getting this pattern. I need it in my life. This comes from an 8 to a 16 and then an 18 to a 26. Of course, they are going to tell you to use cotton blends, medium weight wools, and water repellent fabrics, which is what I would probably do. So I would be like what again I would consider a traditional trench is a rain jacket. So I like it, and as boring as it is, I would probably do it in a basic khaki, like just like full on Inspector Gadget coat. But anyway, it is a little bit of a fabric hog because this is going to be a lot of fabric. Okay, so you're talking about 6 yards and 60-inch fabric for the larger size. That's a lot of fabric. And you're talking about not cheap fabrics, okay? You're talking about water repellent fabrics and possibly wools. Now, if you went with the cotton blend, maybe that would be a little bit easier or a little bit more frugal, but it doesn't matter. This may have to be my project of the winter because I love this trench. I feel like I really need it. Let me know what you think in the comments. But it's for me. And the more I talk about it, the more I like view A. So now I'm perplexed. Lord knows I don't want to make two. Okay, we had a high, and this may not be a low, but I have to admit I'm conflicted. Okay, I would like to call this, it's like a suit, a skirt suit, right? I would like to call this the mullet suit. You know what I'm saying? You knew where I was going, right? Let's zoom in on the jacket because it's all business in the front. It's all business in the front. You got double-breasted, welt flat pockets, notch collar, two-piece sleeves, you know, fisheye waist darts, or maybe those are princess seams. I don't know. Um, and then look at the back. You just went full on mullet. You just went cape. You went loosey goosey. I don't understand how these two go together. I honestly don't see how they get the look in this front view with the back being all loosey goosey as it is. Let's continue. I also am not a huge fan of the skirt, but we will get to that in a second. I don't know how I feel about this awkwardly placed front slit. It's like a V. I also don't like the length. And they put it on her in flats. I don't know. I guess those are flats, but I don't know. I don't get it. There seems like a lot going on with the back from like the caped blazer to this high slit in the, I don't get it. I just, I don't get it. We're gonna look at that later. Let's look at the line drawings. Here we go again from the front. Love this blazer. It reminds me a lot of, I think, Erica Bunker maybe has a blazer like this, or maybe it's Beauty Door. Somebody has a really great blazer. That's a Nomi pattern, and I like it. It has the darts here in the sort of side panel for the fitting, flat pockets, like I said, double-breasted notch collar, all the traditional things. And then we get to this, and then I don't understand. You have the button details here on the sleeves, and then the skirt in drawing form doesn't really look that bad. It has the facings, it has the V front, V back, which usually I sort of like. It will give you a little leg. Um, no waistband, just these fitted darts here at the waist, so probably finished off with like ribbon or bias tape or something. But I really don't like this jacket, y'all. Again, they're going for something different. I get that. I do get that part. They say it's lined, semi-fitted. That's an understatement. With the cape back, um, shoulder pads, to like everything I already said. And then the skirt is unlined, sits on your natural waist, and then has these miter corner hems. I don't know. This is a yes for somebody. It's just not a yes for me. Caftan season is still going on, as you can see here. We have two different views of a caftan dress here. Yeah, let's look at the line drawings first so we sort of see the difference. View A is just going to be a loose caftan shape with like not really a drop, a dolman sleeve that goes into like this other sleeve band situation. And then view B is going to be essentially the same, but we're going to add a V-neck and then a belt. I always prefer a belted version just to sort of bring it in a little bit, but that's just me. Let's look at it on the models here on the envelope front. You can see that they chose one to be a print and one to be a solid. I love this blue, by the way, neither here nor there. You can see the differences in the neckline. You have a very high like jewel neckline or a deep V here. And you can see like this very loose dolman sleeve, and then like the hem band for the sleeve starts about right here. So you get a little bit more fitted. And this really brings the caftan into the fall season because it has sleeves, whereas typically a caftan just sort of falls off your shoulders. So this does a little bit more. I love it in this navy, not navy, more like a cobalt royal kind of blue here. Very pretty, deep V neck, very cute. Let's look at the details for what you're looking for here. They recommend charmeuse, a crepe, rayon chalet, or a silk jersey. I could actually see this out of a matte jersey or I don't know. I could also see this out of a lot of knits as well to being really comfortable. Maybe like a bamboo kind of knit or something. This is also all in one pattern envelope, extra small to extra, extra large. Again, you're talking about a little bit of a pattern haul if you use the 45-inch fabrics, which I doubt you would. I don't know what you would use. You wouldn't want to do this in like a cotton. Anyway, you're looking at about 4.5 yards on this if you're talking about the larger sizes. And they say this is average, but I can see how this would not be an easy, quick sew. Maybe there's some trick that I don't know here, but I would think this would be a really easy, quick to sew pattern. I like it. I just don't know that I'm going to buy it because I do have quite a few caftan patterns already. Here is a Diane von Furstenberg pattern. They are really ramping up these DVF reprints. This is a 70s wrap dress that is reversible. And by that, like the front can be the back and the back can be the front, not necessarily that you turn the inside out. Two different kind of reversibles. Anyway, this is a cute dress. We can look at the pattern envelope first. For this one, we have the drawing for view B, the more evening gown length here from the original pattern. And then you can see the original picture and then it made up again here recently, I think. So yeah, if you take a look at this, it's a lovely wrap dress pattern. I love wrap dresses. We know this. This one is a little bit more simple than the iconic DVF dress that has the collar and the cuffs. I honestly don't know that I would go for this pattern because there's so many other wrap dresses that are this simple that I don't know if I need a DVF version of it. Just because there are other ones that are quite similar, you're losing the details of the DVF collar and stuff like that. If you do it in a fun, bold print like DVF would, sort of any wrap dress will give you this look. Here it is on the model backwards. You can't see my air quotes. Backwards, where the wrap is actually tying in the back. I think I would always be a little insecure about it tying in the back. I don't know why, because I could still tie the bow in the front probably. I don't know. But yeah, this is giving you that. I love that they are using like animal prints here. So we went from the snake print to this like, I don't know, cheetah leopard kind of print to the Dalmatian print that's on the front of the envelope. But anyway, wrap dresses do tend to take a decent amount of fabric. So you're looking at about 4 yards for the shorter length, about 5 yards for the longer length, but that's to be expected. This has long sleeves and then the tie straps, and then you're talking about big pieces here. If we look at the line drawing, you can see again that this is really just a basic wrap dress. You're going to have a V wrap in the front, wrap in the back. You don't have any extra darts. You do have a center back seam on the skirt, but there's nothing 100% stand out about this wrap dress. Now it's DVF, so I'm sure that it is really designed and fitted properly. Like I'm sure that it's a really great fitting wrap dress and well designed, but for me, I have other wrap dresses that will do the job. Lastly, we have a couple of vintage reprints. This one is from the 1950s. It has the very classic fitted bodice and very huge gathered skirt. This is evening wear from a time when people really dressed up to do things. You have a stole, which just makes me think of the Golden Girls here, and then this like overshirt kind of separate piece here as well. It's just giving you very glamour, very Hollywood, very movie star. They say it's an evening dress or it can be bridal. This is going to be a bit of a fabric hog, taking, 5 or 6 yards for the dress, and then you have the underbodice, and then you have an underskirt. So you probably have to be into vintage reproductions to be interested in this pattern, but it is a very beautiful dress, and I do love that they extended the sizing from an 8-6 to 16 and then an 18 to a 26. They don't always do that with the reproduction, so that's really exciting to see. Lastly, we have another 50s reproduction, which again looks very 50s. It's cute. So you can see that you have this jumpsuit here with the optional overskirt. This really gives me like I Love Lucy vibes. I don't know why. I don't know if she even ever Lucille Ball ever even wore anything like this, but it's definitely giving me sort of that look. Like this jumper romper jumpsuit thing makes me think of the outfit that she had on when she was doing the bonbon scene on the conveyor belt. Anyway, so I think this is cute, and I love the fact that there is an overskirt and then there is a belt, and then you can do the more like capri length version, pedal pusher version of the bodysuit as well. That you can see here back in the background of the illustration. I really wish that they would have sewn this up and let a model model this like they sometimes do, but I don't know, they just don't do it here. This isn't a pattern that I need. I don't really have a 1950s body anyway, but I think this is so darn cute. Um, Look, and put anything you want on your body. I stand by that. But this is available from an 8 to a 16 and an 18 to a 26. So again, I will say very, very happy about their attempt at size inclusivity here. Could it go larger? Of course, but this is better than we usually get on reproduction patterns. So I think that's pretty great. They say corduroy, absolutely not, but that's because it's hot in Atlanta all the time. So no. Cotton satin, cotton twill, denim. I could definitely see this in a denim. Definitely see this in a denim. Lightweight wools, a linen, a twill, so forth and so on. I definitely think like a stretch sateen I could do. Anyway, I do think this is super cute. It's just not practical at all. But if you are into 50s fashion, please, please, please buy and sew this because I would just love to see it on somebody. I think it's so cute. So yeah, that is all for Vogue Fall 2024. But let me know in the comments what you think about these patterns. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree? Which ones do you plan on grabbing? Which ones are you definitely skipping on? Y'all know I love to chat it up in the comments, so be sure to leave your thoughts below. If you enjoyed this video and want to make sure that you don't miss a new pattern drop, be sure to like, share, and subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching. Happy sewing!